Howdy folks, Montag the Cowboy Mouse here, and today I've landed a new job cleaning up the infected in 1896 Louisiana. Now, unlike my last job, I'm actually quite familiar with the area. Of course, this job comes with good pay and some competitive folks, but I'm not afraid. I've heard something about like some little miniature spiders or something, but luckily I'm not an arachnophobe. So get ready to make some money, because we're gonna...
Oh, brother, this guy...
Web of the Empress is the newest Hunt Showdown event running from September to December and comes with a whole host of new things to experience. We got new enemies to squish, weapons to shoot, and bounties to take from the competition while using tarot cards. While this channel is primarily focused on reviewing games and recommending stuff, I still love Hunt Showdown all the same, so I wanted to give it the attention that it deserves for a genuinely awesome event. Anyways, if you like this review style of content I like, make sure to... Oh, come on, man! I was gonna do it myself this time! God dang it! The main feature of this event is the addition of the new AI mob, the Bile Weavers. These little critters are insects that hatch from disturbing looking pods when you go near them and deal poison damage as they bite or spit clouds of green gas at you. On their own, they die in one hit and can catch you off guard at most, but they never disorient you. But then, there's the Bile Weaver Hive, which becomes an actual threat once you try to get some of the high tier loot inside. Inside of this new compound is a small labyrinth of twisting webs and broken down buildings and tons of these Bile Weaver eggs. Like, you are surprised how many there are. So if you want to go in and get some high tier loot, you are really going to have to commit to it. There's some ways that you can circumvent this, either with fire, with certain tarot cards, which I will talk about later, or using shadow, but realistically, you're running in there, trying to get the cards that you can, and getting out before you get capped by another player taking advantage of you. And with all these eggs, once they hatch, you basically have a swarm on your hands, which is going to be very hard to deal with. Besides those few notes, the Bile Weavers are a great addition. When Crytek can combine elements of their game with environmental design, which is their strongest suit, I think that they can really create something special, and the Bile Weavers are no different. I think that many could agree in the community that for the longest time we've been getting more boss-oriented enemies as of late, and while that has been fine, it really has been underwhelming when it comes to actually new stuff being added to the world. Hopefully with this new direction, we can see more AI being implemented that can keep you on your toes and maybe change the battlefield a little bit. So, good job. Also, low-key, would buy a little plush of these guys if they made a makeshift campaign. Like, could you just imagine the little tiny Bile Weaver that, like, sleeps with you at night? That shit would be really cute. However, you do need something to kill these Bile Weavers with, and hunters, I guess, too. And after some lackluster weapon additions over the past few events, we've returned with two brand new weapon variants with a caveat: the Homestead 78 and the Centennial Wildland. Both of these are considered straight upgrades, with the Homestead basically being a double Romero, and the Centennial being an extended Swift variant of the base gun. At first, I thought this was going to be a similar situation to the Post Malone Murder Circus Saw Blade Launcher, say that 5 times fast, and that it would be overpowered for the first 2 weeks and then nerfed into the ground. However, because these are base variants of guns that you already know, they still have drawbacks to them that will allow you to take advantage of it. For example, the Homestead, while it does have a better range and tighter spread, still can be outclassed by most rifles in the game. And once again, they're scarce. Going out and finding something within the world, specifically the Bile Weaver nest, and it's still a coin flip if you'll get the weapon that you actually want. So, it's really good design, and while the weapons are simple for many others, I think they're a great addition to the game. As for a quick review on both weapons themselves, the Homestead starting off as a great shotgun, and it's one of the first shotguns I've seen people take with just regular buckshot just because of its spread and range. You can take flechette, slugs, and penny shot with it, but you really are putting yourself at a disadvantage just because the spread is already so good, and you're compensating for something that you might not want. As for the Wildland, while still scarce, this might actually compete with the long ammo meta in ways that people don't expect. It does 126 damage, which is higher than the base version, and it can basically one-tap hunters that have already been downed once. And with levering and really great handling, this is probably becoming one of my favorite workhorse rifles of the game. So I would say if you're looking for something that's new, while still feeling familiar, the Wildland is your choice. So yeah, solid weapons all around and a great implementation. I know that you can't add skins for these guns because they're scarce, but I also want to compliment the art team for making these guns look a little bit more ornate. So, good job. But now, this is actually the real meat and potatoes of the event. It's time to get superstitious and read your daily horoscope because the tarot cards have been added. These tarot cards predict your fate and may turn the tides of around as the newest addition to Hunt Showdown's consumable slots. After teasing it through 2 events, which I'm actually surprised I didn't pick up on, getting my hands on the first 12 cards released has been the most fun I've had with the game in a hot second. Some grant you buffs, perks, healing, while others actually have risks to them. For example, the Devil Cart allows you to have a tightened weapon spread on rifles and pistols, but you lose 2 bars if you get downed. One of my favorites is the Tower, which is a PvE killer, killing all mobs within a 75-meter radius and taking away half the health of most bosses, which is insane. But one of the most interesting additions is the Chariots. Crytek in their dev stream said they wanted to shake up the gameplay of how you would extract, so now when you spawn into a map, you still have the regular 3 extracts at the corners of the map, but one of them will be locked, and there is the newest addition of a middle point extract. But if you use the Chariot card, you unlock the central extract for an escape and lock one of the other extracts out near the corners of the map. So while this is a relatively simple addition, I think this has saved my team more times than I can count. Better than the healing, better than the Devil card, better than anything, just because you can turn the tides of a match in just a single click. And while there are only 12 tarot cards right now, keep in mind that there's actually a full 24 unique tarot cards within a regular deck, so they could add more and more crazy effects to make the gameplay more interesting. But the biggest praise that I can give this event is that everything feels polished and ready for release. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you a story. Events are the bread and butter of this game, and for the last, I would say 2 years, Crytek has added some amazing stuff, but also some questionable stuff as well. Stuff like the Saw Blade Launcher, Silencer Nerf, 1865 Aperture and Silencer variants, and of course, the Crag Silencer, really have been some of the weirdest and possibly worst additions to the game in a hot second. And like I said, I usually am not overly negative about things, but every update or event that they would host ever since 1896, there would be some caveat of, yeah, it's good, but wait until they patch it. But for the first time in what seems like a year and a half or 2 years, all the stuff they've added has been polished, tested, and ready for release. Of course, this comes into question of how often they're going to be adding this new stuff to the game, but I would rather take stability over instability with the new toys that I'm playing with. And to give praise, Crytek simply made a great update, but not without its criticisms. Before I close the review, I want to at least give some sort of feedback as Crytek's #1 supporter, or yaoi interest, and show how there's a few hiccups to still keep this one short of truly fantastic. The first criticism I can levy is specifically against the UI. They actually made it really good with this update, removing some of the unnecessary fluff and stuff throughout the home screen and the hunters and the equipment, etc., but they still were teasing something about toggling legendary skins with Q&E. Now, I know this is going to be biased. I basically have every skin in the game, and I like to keep it varied with what I want to do, but Crytek, please, push this out faster. There have been so many times where I have been dejected from playing just because I want to equip a skin that I find cool. It literally is 2 right clicks, equipping the skin, and then going out of the menu, which sometimes lags my game a little bit. I don't ask for much, but truly, you're on the crux of good UI again. And this change will alleviate so many headaches that I've been creating with loadouts, and especially with skins. So please, push that as soon as possible. Another aspect that seems to be lacking is the shift in meta. Garden of the Witch was a turning point where how weapons were balanced, such as silencer changes, ammo changes, pen changes, etc. And while we did get a buff or nerf to 2 weapons, explosive bolts and frag bolts were becoming scarce, it really didn't feel like much changed. And especially within the high MMR bracket, I just see Mosins everywhere. I think it's time for some kind of shift where maybe variety is classed up there. Now, do I have an answer to this? Fuck no. But I think the variety keeps games alive, and especially with the long ammo meta still being dominant after all these years, perhaps it's time for a switch. The only recommendation that I can maybe give is that the Mosin has a stripper clip reload nerf, just because we've given that to the Dolch. But, of course, Crytek is the final deciders on this one, so maybe they didn't want to overtune something, just like I was praising earlier. So, who knows? But besides that and some general housekeeping stuff with some points I'm about to put on the screen, this event has been fantastic. If you're looking for a reason to get back into Hunt or looking to maybe figure out what Hunt is, now is the time with a brand new event, actual new things to do, and a host of hunters to take the bounty from. I don't like to give things a score, but I would say that this is the most focused Crytek has ever been for a game update in a hot second. So, congrats Crytek. Just, please don't forget about the level. Like, I'm completely biased, but that thing has been dead in the corner and malnourished through it, like, the last 3 years. It needs, like, a skin or something, man. Like, come on. Anyways, thank you for watching. Tune in next week when we talk about a game that Markiplier played recently that needs more attention than it deserves. Have a nice day, stay cheesy, and I'll talk to you later.
Adios.